What do you think, Rebecca? You're shaking your head. You're sceptical.
I lost respect for Boris Johnson a long time ago.
Yeah, when was that?
Probably... Well, it was not long after he got COVID and we were all out on the front doorstep clapping for how wonderful he'd done. After then, he just seemed to go downhill. Yeah. His constant indecisions and going backwards and forwards on various things, making these promises. He's doing the same thing again, promising Christmas is going to be fine. It's not. It's not. He's just going to come up with something else next week. And you know when I really lost respect for him, and I'll start on your vaccine thing in a second, when I really lost respect for him was when he flew to COP26, a climate protest. Who on earth is advising this man?
Yeah.
It's absolute nonsense.
It's hypocritical.
No, let me just tell you that. What's worse than that was he flew back from that to go to the Garrett Club to eat and, you know, have all the wine and all the rest of it. That's true. But when the press criticised him, when he went back up, he went up on a train. That's what makes me mad. And I'm not a Boris fan. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I think he's handled COVID pretty badly.
Useless.
OK. So, I mean, I sort of resent the whole idea that we can just cancel Christmas at the whim of the government. What do you think, Peter?
Well, no one's suggesting that Christmas is going to be cancelled,
no.
But I think it was the right thing to do last year. And I suspect John and I may not agree on much, but I think there was massive dither and delay last year, and the government have learned a lesson from that.
Yeah.
The worry is now that there's a struggle between public safety measures and the ideological libertarian instincts of people in government. We also know this week the advisers seem to be falling out among themselves over who's making rude remarks about Boris in the newspapers. So I think it is a bit of a battle between public safety, which I believe Boris Johnson does take seriously because he's had the virus, one of many reasons.
It depends. Some of the internet says he hasn't, but you believe he had it.
Please don't believe everything or even much of what you read on the internet. But I think they're in a battle internally between public safety measures and listening to people like Sage and some of their libertarian instincts. And ultimately, you know, this week is December the 1st. No one really knows what's going to happen at Christmas. Remember, in the small print today, it said this will be reviewed in 3 weeks' time. OK,
well, I mean, I think I have the libertarian instincts that you don't seem to share. What do you think, Mike? What do you think about the whole press conference, Boris?
I thought the press conference was impressive. I agree with everybody who said that he seemed to regain some prime ministerial powers. The Peppa Pig delivery will be forgotten about in another week. I mean, I've almost forgotten about it now, you know what I mean? I'm glad he promoted a British company, a very successful British company. But I think what we all got to remember is that last time the government didn't act quickly, they were criticised. Now they're acting quickly and they're being criticised. It had to be done. But look at what all the scientists are saying, including Whitty today, and they are saying that because we're so far ahead of the game on the double and triple vaccination, we are massively well prepared to ward off the worst excesses of any new variant, including this one. I know it's got 50 mutations, but the scientists who I've been listening to today said with an odd tweak here, an odd tweak there, with the AstraZeneca, vaccination, we should be absolutely perfectly able to protect ourselves in a way that the rest of Europe and the rest of the world can't. We're in a very good position. And I feel good.
And do you agree with the thing that Chris Whitty allegedly said, although he then downplayed that he actually did say it today, which is that there wouldn't be as much compliance this time if we even did bring in restrictions?
Well, yeah, I do, because, again, one or two of our panellists have said, is Christmas going to be ruined again? I do believe there'll be a compliance problem, but having said that, I think we've now had such a long time of having to do the things that we do, like wearing masks, which I definitely don't object to. There'll be a compliance problem if it becomes onerous, but I do not think it's onerous to be asked to wear a mask when you're on a bus or a train or a tube train. I don't think that is onerous.
And also, don't mistake Twitter for the real world, because Twitter is not the real world. So all the keyboard warriors, this stops when we say it stops, we're not going to comply and all this, it's all garbage. Ordinary people will put their masks on because they do want Christmas. And Boris is more in tune with, that's up to you.
I never mistake Twitter for the real world because people hate me on Twitter, but no.
And in the real world.
No, joking.
Compliance, by the way, is about closing down pubs. That's what we're talking about. Well, between now and Christmas. The compliance issue is, what? Are we going to be told we can only drink in pubs outside in the cold or only go in and sit down with a meal? That's the main issue that we're talking about with compliance.
Thanks, Mike. I've got to stop you because we've got to go to a break. I mean, I disagree with you about masks, but who cares about me?